They say the soul of a company can be judged by the scent of its server room. Ours reeked of burnout, melting plastic, and too much Axe body spray, thanks to the flood of high-potential hires who rolled in with TikTok resumes and LinkedIn certificates. I knew we were in trouble the moment Aspen rolled in a ring light to her first all-hands and chirped, "Hi besties. Let's shake up some paradigms." She'd married the CEO's only son after one overpriced yoga retreat and was magically crowned Chief Innovation Officer before she could even spell DNS. She strutted into the data center in white stilettos, called our mainframe chunky, and once asked me with complete sincerity if Java was still a thing. I said nothing. I never did. For 12 years, I was the failsafe, held together with midnight code pushes and unpaid weekends, patching brittle backends with gum and grit. When a dependency crash nearly deleted our vendor ledger, I quietly brought it back from the edge. I held credentials to systems no one else knew existed. Maybe that's why I was invisible enough to fire. But before I dish everything, do me a favor, tap subscribe and give this video a like. Most viewers never subscribe, it helps keep these stories going. Back to the carnage. It started that morning when Aspen breezed into the 8:30 a.m. strategy meeting sipping some radioactive-looking green juice. The room fell silent, that thick, nervous kind of quiet that comes right before someone says something catastrophically dumb. She stood beneath flickering fluorescence like a tech pageant queen trapped in a Jira board. "We're entering a bold new chapter," she beamed, scanning us like a substitute teacher about to assign a group project. "Legacy systems are holding us back. We need fresh minds, modern tools, and let's be honest, fewer dinosaurs." The dev row collectively clenched. I felt it deep in my molars. She smiled like she'd just reinvented oxygen. No one spoke. Not out of agreement, but because everyone was silently wondering if their 401(k)s were about to be torched by influencer-grade incompetence. She clicked through a Canva deck full of buzzwords she clearly didn't understand. "We'll be sunsetting outdated platforms," she announced, tapping a diagram ripped straight from some GitHub README. "Scalable, modular frameworks. Empowered teams. Disrupted silos. Translation, you're all replaceable." As she spoke, I thought about the DNS failover I manually rerouted last week because her migration squad forgot to map the secondary node. I thought about the unlisted database hooks I wrote in 2017 that were still propping up our logistics dashboard. And I thought about the NDA she signed, without reading, that made clear my proprietary scripts were mine alone. I stayed quiet. Wrapped the meeting with a fake laugh and a corporate wave. "Let's get to work, fam." But the future waits for no one, Aspen. And in your case? It waits with teeth. 2 days later, the invite came. Subject, quick sync, HR. No agenda. No explanation. Just a lonely 4:30 p.m. slot, corporate code for a termination dressed in soft lighting. I'd seen this dance before. The late day slot, the forced smiles, the sad folder handed off like a weapon. They never do it in the morning. Firing someone is a task wedged between fake empathy and Slack updates. I walked in. There she was, Aspen, perched on the HR manager's desk like she was shooting a profile piece for Fast Company, Nepotism Edition. The perfume was cloying, synthetic vanilla melting under fluorescent heat. "Claire. So glad you could join us," she said, swinging one leg over the other like she'd just learned the move from a tech influencer. "This won't take long." Greg from HR looked like a backup actor in a Netflix office drama. He pushed a branded folder toward me like it might explode. Aspen smiled, all corporate gloss. "As part of our Clean Slate initiative, we're phasing out legacy roles to align with a forward-thinking, youth-driven vision." Translation, you make me look bad in meetings. You know I'm faking it. And you're too experienced to manipulate. I didn't flinch. Didn't blink. I just listened. We really appreciate your contributions, she added, searching her memory for any idea what I actually did. But we're moving toward a more agile, collaborative, modern structure. There it was, the youth dagger. Thrown like confetti from a pastel Instagram blazer. Greg nudged the severance agreement closer. Standard package. 3 months Cobra coverage if you enroll by Friday. Outplacement support available. I skimmed the pages. They'd forgotten I used to audit these contracts. Aspen leaned in. Any questions? I folded the paper. Just one. She tilted her head, ready to swat away some whimpering protest. You've got 15 minutes, I said. She blinked. I'm sorry. I stood, calmly unclipping my badge and placing it on the desk like a grenade, pin pulled. 15 minutes until the patchwork unravels. Until the scripts you never understood start failing, the logs stop reporting, the queues overflow, and your precious invoices stall. Her smile cracked. I leaned closer, voice steady. This isn't revenge. I'm just done fixing the messes you're too arrogant to admit you created. Then I turned and walked out. No shouting. No final word. Just the echo of my steps and a silent countdown ticking in every unseen corner of their crumbling tech stack. I didn't go home. I walked to a cafe 2 blocks away, ordered a black coffee and a cranberry scone I didn't want, and sat near the window facing the north side of the building. 15th floor. Looked the same. Like nothing had changed. But somewhere beneath those windows was a grenade waiting to detonate. The first sip burned my tongue. Good. I needed to feel something. Anything beyond this dull hum of, what did I just do, vibrating under my ribs. My phone stayed silent. No calls. No messages. No last minute, can we talk? Just quiet. Just caffeine. Just the soft realization that maybe I could have leaked a warning to someone on the back-end team. Or dropped a public memo. Or taken the severance with a smile and a slow death in silence. But I didn't. I walked away. And I left the safety off. That sleek, glass and concrete ego cube loomed behind me, and guilt started sneaking in sideways. Maybe I'd lit the match and walked away without checking who else was still inside. My fingers moved instinctively toward my bag, brushing against my tablet. Muscle memory took over. Draft a fallback guide. Cue a remote override. Maybe shoot off a just-in-case Slack to Darren in procurement, Darren, who always remembered my birthday and once cried in the server room after nuking a root directory. I opened a blank email. Typed, if you're reading this, the system has likely, then stopped. Backspace. Delete. No. They made their choices. Aspen picked buzzwords over backups. Flashy over functional. And the CEO? He handed her the crown like she'd descended from Mount Malibu with commandments etched in Instagram filters. Nobody cared how things actually kept running. Nobody asked who patched the billing engine at 3 a.m. or flagged that ransomware signature before legal even noticed the breach. They didn't care that the last 3 execs had leaned on me behind closed doors to fix problems too embarrassing to admit. Aspen certainly never read the NDAs. One of which clearly gave me ownership over the auto-patching scripts they'd unknowingly relied on for the last 5 quarters. They wanted me invisible. Now they got it. A janitor pushed a mop cart across the lobby. Same guy who used to call me Miss Claire and leave cookies on my desk during the holidays. I almost waved. Instead, I finished my coffee, still hot, still bitter. It began with a flicker. One email bounced. Then another. Then 47. Dashboards froze. First logistics, then procurement. API calls started returning 500 errors like confetti at a pity party. Internal ticketing locked out everyone, and the autoresponder offered, "Your session has expired. Please contact your system administrator." They just had. And fired her. From my booth at Café Wood, I refreshed the news feed. One blip. Then two. A vendor LinkedIn post made me choke on my second cup, due to a technical issue at, redacted, fulfillment is paused. A comment underneath, "Didn't Claire used to run that?" Oh, honey. Inside, Aspen flailed like a headless chicken in heels. Her precious, cloud migration, was already halfway to the ocean floor. Turns out, moving your entire vendor stack to a platform you don't understand, without verifying credentials or compliance flags, isn't innovation. It's negligence. I pictured her in the server room, frantically swiping her iPad like she could will graphs back to life. Probably surrounded by some TikTok hire she praised last week, now panicking as Slack notifications stacked like Jenga blocks. Buzz. Marcy in finance, "Hey, weird question, did you archive the Q4 tool somewhere?" Buzz. Darren, "Claire, are you seeing this? Aspen's melting down." Buzz. Anna, the CEO's assistant, who once brought me soup when I had the flu, "Claire, I know you're gone. But please, vendor logs?" I didn't reply. Not yet. I scrolled to the internal status dashboard. What used to be a serene sea of green had hemorrhaged into a Christmas mess of red and yellow. A notice blinked at the top, probably penned by some poor intern named Bryce. "We are currently experiencing a temporary disruption across multiple systems. Thank you for your patience." Patience. Hilarious. I opened the old infra team group chat. Most had already left. Alex, DevOps, told you it'd unravel without her. Mira, SR, taking bets on when Aspen gets transitioned. Carlos, backend lead, Friday. Tops. Then a new name popped up, Aspen. Hey everyone. Let's keep things positive. Dizzy Sparkles #solutions not blame. I nearly screamed laughing. Instead, I leaned back in my booth, phone in one hand, coffee in the other, and watched the empire I once held together with bash scripts and caffeine begin to fall apart like a dropped snow globe. 15 minutes. No, not even. At HQ, the CEO's smartwatch buzzed during a PowerPoint titled, "Scaling Trust in 2025. 3 taps, our silent alarm for disaster." He bolted, "Ty Askew." By the time he reached the elevator, Audit was already combing logs. One name kept popping up, Claire Forrester. The twist? Nothing I did was sabotage. 72 hours earlier, I simply revoked my own scripts, the quiet little tools I wrote after hours that stopped orphan processes, sanitized injection points, patched the middleware handoffs Aspen's team never understood. I didn't delete them. I just took them with me. They were mine. Aspen signed off on that clause without reading, too busy making TikToks about her big promotion energy. Now those scripts were gone. And things started failing, fast. By 10:46 a.m., the main supply node collapsed. 10 seconds later, major clients couldn't authenticate. The sandbox billing environment executed live charges. The VPN choked. Remote staff got kicked out. All the while Aspen stood in the angry data closet, clipboard in hand, surrounded by expensive consultants who charged $400 per hour to Google error codes. She hissed, "Why isn't the rollback script working?" A junior dev muttered, "Claire handled that." Aspen snapped, "Well, Claire's not here, is she?" No one replied. Then the CEO stormed in, face pale. "Aspen, what is happening?" She forced a smile. "Just a little turbulence while we pivot. Clients are screaming breach. Legal says there's a licensing issue." She cut him off. "Claire must have changed something." He stared at her. Claire left 3 days ago. She made herself too essential, Aspen said. She was essential, he growled. You were too busy rebranding Slack channels to notice. Silence. A tech coughed. She didn't change anything. She just stopped compensating. What does that mean? The CEO asked. It means she didn't sabotage us. She just stopped saving us. The CEO's face went sheet white. Aspen looked like she wanted to disappear into her blazer, suddenly too loud, too bright, like a costume for a play she didn't audition for. Meanwhile, in a quiet cafe with wobbly chairs and lo-fi jazz barely audible over the steam of the espresso machine, I opened my laptop. Inbox, 183 unread. Subject lines like warnings. System emergency. Potential legal breach. Can we talk? One starred message caught my eye, someone I hadn't heard from in ages. Subject, coffee sometime? Need your brain on this. I didn't smile, but I did order another scone. Legal was first to move. That caffeine-fueled pack of bespoke-clad lawyers zeroed in like wolves with subpoenas. Within hours, they dug up expired vendor keys, shady licensing lapses, and one particularly stupid Slack message from Aspen. Claire's paranoid. Just delete the contracts. No one cares. They found the deleted compliance folder too, restored thanks to backups I'd configured 2 years back when Aspen decided documentation was a vibe issue. Turns out, our invoicing tool contract had lapsed in March. I flagged it twice. Aspen called it vendor spam. That vendor cut us off and now demanded double under emergency terms. Legal called it extortion. I called it karma with a paper trail. But the real hit came from our oldest client, a logistics firm whose systems wrapped around ours like nerve endings. They halted operations at 11:07 a.m. By 1:42 p.m., they'd sent a formal letter, SLA breach, damages pending. PR panicked and issued a scheduled maintenance post across platforms. But they forgot to disable Twitter DMs. Bots messaged furious clients, thanks for your feedback. Our team is reimagining Synergy Sparkle's Rocket laptop. That one hit LinkedIn in minutes. By 4 p.m., Aspen had vanished into her office like a ghost. No pastels. No chirpy gifs. Just her hunched at her laptop, fumbling with dashboards that looked like digital tarot cards predicting doom. Then came her first message. Aspen, text hey. Smiling face with smiling eyes. Quick question, do you know if there's a backup to the vendor hooks? Me, locked my phone. Second message, email. Then Slack. Then LinkedIn. Even Venmo, yes, Venmo, with a $5 note, PLS answer. I screenshot that one. The CEO cornered her later, demanding a recovery timeline. Rumor was she tried blaming the offshore team. They blamed her right back. Because here's the truth, when you're underestimated, people forget how many receipts you've quietly kept. And I had them all, time-stamped, archived, encrypted. Every ignored alert, every sarcastic, okay boomer, comment she scribbled in my reviews. I could have leaked everything to a tech blog. Printed that Slack message about contracts on t-shirts for the legal team. But I didn't. Not yet. Because real revenge isn't loud, it's cold, patient, deliberate. I wanted her to understand exactly who she misjudged. By the next morning, my inbox looked like a post-mortem report. Can we talk? I didn't know what she was doing to you. I'm so sorry. Even Linda, the CEO's right hand and passive-aggressive queen of HR, sent a 9-paragraph apology laced with phrases like, in hindsight, and foundational contributions. No, Linda. I responded to none. Then it came. Flagged priority. Confidential. From Aspen. Subject, video call, one last ask. Body was short, please, 10 minutes. I won't say anything you don't want to hear. Just, ask. I won't record. I snorted and hit record before accepting. Her camera came on. Gone was the polished queen bee. She looked like a raccoon who lost a fight with a mascara wand. Hoodie with peeling glitter letters, #BossEnergy. Hair in a sad ponytail. She opened with, "Claire, thank you for taking this call." I didn't speak. Just tilted my head like I was watching a cat try to open a door. I didn't respect your work. I didn't understand it. But I've learned the hard way. I'm begging you, please help me fix this. I'll pay you personally. I just need to show the board some effort. I raised one finger. She paused. My father-in-law bet on aesthetics over ability, I said calmly. That's not my mess to clean up. She blinked. They might suspend me. They already have, I replied. She deflated. Her mouth opened, closed. Again. Like a fish watching the Wi-Fi go down. I ended the call. 10 minutes later, internal HR alert. Aspen apprentice placed on administrative leave pending infrastructure review and compliance failure. The board was circling like sharks. The whispers weren't just about Aspen, they were about nepotism, poor judgment, and the quiet disappearance of my name from the org chart a week before everything imploded. And me? I was in a robe, sipping coffee brewed from hard-earned rage and the clarity of knowing your worth. The offer arrived without fanfare. A sleek envelope, hand-delivered. A note inside, "Claire, we've always known your value. Ready when you are. Stratum Systems." I laughed. Stratum had been circling for years, trying to poach, sending friendly check-ins. I stayed loyal. I fixed what wasn't mine. I held together a company that treated me like a spare part. This time, I said yes. 6-month consulting contract. Twice the pay. Half the stress. Total respect. They didn't ask for proof. They asked, Mac or Linux? I picked Linux. My first call wasn't a status sync. It was a strategy session. They listened. Took notes. The CTO thanked me, twice. 3 weeks in, I walked by my old building. Just to check. Dark windows. Locked doors. A for lease sign duct taped to the inside like a breakup scribbled on the back of a gas station receipt. I didn't feel triumph. I didn't feel regret. I just kept walking. Because that place? It was never really mine. I was its spine. They only noticed when it slipped. And that silence? That was the real victory. No middle finger. No grandstanding. Just one long breath and the sharp, clean air of closure. Back home, my calendar was finally mine. I worked from the sunroom, wore mismatched socks with holes in them, drank coffee that no longer tasted like deadlines and despair, and answered only to people who respected what I actually did. I never once had to fake a smile while someone pitched disruptive synergies with a straight face. They say revenge tastes best served cold, I say peace is served earned, and best enjoyed with biscotti. I didn't walk away from the blaze. I built something better with what survived the fire. Aspen's farewell was dressed up in a soft lavender Canva post dripping with curated vulnerability. After deep reflection, I've chosen to take a step back, focus on wellness, and reconnect with purpose. So grateful for the growth, lessons, and incredible humans who made this journey unforgettable. Dizzy emoji. Glitter sparkles. #healing. #new beginnings. The comments section. A graceful pile-up in slow motion. So brave to turn getting fired into a yoga retreat. Did your wellness journey involve wiping vendor logs? You disrupted systems all right, still rebooting. Pro tip, next time, listen to your engineers. She tried to limit replies. Didn't work. Even the PR firm's damage control read like a parody. Someone made a parody, Aspen_bot tweeting gems like, "If I don't understand the outage, it must not be real dizzy manifest uptime. I never liked, never shared, never added fuel." Because the envelope had already landed, heavy paper, serious font, stamped by a law firm I recognized on sight. The kind that doesn't flinch at 8-figure settlements. Inside. Subpoena. Claire Forrester is hereby requested to provide technical testimony in the matter of shareholders versus Eldridge Corporation. I read it twice. It wasn't against me. It was with me. They wanted documents. Dates. Ignored alerts. Scrubbed backups. And someone who could explain, in plain Hemingway English, how one woman held up an empire while leadership replaced infrastructure with Instagram templates. No gloating. No rage. Just a rare, still feeling, like exhaling after years of swallowing truths whole. I closed the folder. Opened my inbox. One unread message. From CEO@eldridgecorp.com. Subject, "We need to talk." I hovered, then hit delete. No drama. No forwarding to press. Just, gone. Like all rotten things left too long in sunlight. Then I opened another tab and booked a weekend in Napa. No laptop. No charger. Just a vineyard, a paperback, and a silence no Slack ping could interrupt. Because sometimes power isn't in the crash, it's in the quiet that follows it. And I planned to savor every second. What struck me most was how calm Claire stayed through it all. No shouting. No threats. Just deliberate moves and strategic silence. Sometimes the loudest thing you can do is walk away, and let the truth do all the screaming for you. You're the real heroes of the corporate wild. Thanks for watching. Tap subscribe. Or I'll leak your old performance reviews.